Hi, I'm Dr. Ryan Bentley. I want to take a moment and kind of explain to you how your gut health relates to your mental health and how it functions. The key thing is to start all the way back at embryology, which is going way back, right? So in our development, one of the most important things is that in our brainstem we have a nerve that's called the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve actually transcends and goes all the way down and interfaces with our gastrointestinal system. So it starts up at the brainstem and travels all the way to our intestinal system, and it gives parasympathetic control. Parasympathetic versus sympathetic. What does that mean? Sympathetic nervous system is our fight or flight response. It's when we get anxious, when we get nervous, when we're getting ready to, we hear a car accident or something happens, something startles us. That's our sympathetic nervous system. Your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, blood flow starts changing. It shuts down from the intestinal system and goes out to your arms and legs so you can run if you're getting chased by a bear. That's your sympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic, which is what the vagus nerve runs, is your rest and digest is what we think about in medicine. It's how we learned it, is parasympathetic is rest and digest. So when people say that when you're eating a meal, you want to be in a relaxed environment, you don't want to be rushed, because again, you want all the blood flow going to your intestinal system. Well, again, that's run by the vagus nerve. So I say all that that when you're anxious or you're getting ready to step on stage and you're going to talk with somebody or you're going to have a confrontation with somebody and you get those butterflies in your stomach, well, what is that? That's an emotional response in the brain that's creating a physical manifestation in your intestinal system. Some people get diarrhea. They get nervous diarrhea. Again, that shows you that the mind controls your physiology and there's that gut-brain interface. Something else to consider when it comes to gut-brain health is that evidence shows that 90 to 95% of neurotransmitters are made in the intestinal system. So oftentimes when you look at medications that alter neurotransmitter production in the brain, such as a serotonin reuptake inhibitor that increases the amount of serotonin, well, guess what? Oftentimes the side effects that people have are intestinal in relationship to that. Some evidence shows that the neurotransmitters made in the intestinal system don't cross the blood-brain barrier. However, people that have systemic inflammation, that blood-brain barrier is oftentimes permeable and allow things to infiltrate. Also, there's certain evidence that shows that with the vagus nerve as a connector, so there's been certain neurodegenerative diseases that have been shown to be related to certain microbes and that they have actually traveled up the vagus nerve. Now, this is some very technical, high-end research that's beyond this conversation right now, but it does show to the point that certain infections in the intestinal system can manifest neurological complications into your brain. So again, having a healthy microbe and microbiota ultimately affects the immune system, which infects your inflammatory response, which ultimately infects your endocrine system, because probiotics in the gut and healthy bacteria, they make vitamins and minerals. They also help the body digest. They help the body make hormones. They help modulate the immune system. They help control inflammation. So all those things, our body is one connected inner circuitry of everything that feeds off of each other. You can't take one segment out and forget the other. It all works in unison. So there's so much research out there right now, and there's so much that we don't know. We're learning stuff every day. This is a brand new frontier, and right now, the biological revolution is meeting our technical revolution, and the two are blending together, so information is changing daily. But if we go back and look at the basics and just think about the fact that when you get nervous, you're going to have a confrontation, and all of a sudden you either got nervous diarrhea or you got butterflies in your stomach or your stomach started to cramp based off of emotional response, that basic science, whether or not we know all the scientific detail, should be enough to tell you right now that, yeah, there is a connection. And yeah, it is important. Because again, if you're getting chased by a bear, do you stop to eat? No. Because if you did, you're going to be the meal for that bear, right? So, because your digestion shuts down, you don't stop to eat, you don't stop to have a bowel movement, you don't stop to urinate. You know, those are all things that, because that part of the nervous system is shut down, the parasympathetic tones down, the sympathetic turns up because you're in a fight or flight response. And if you look at our society today, right now, so many people are stuck in such a fight or flight response right now due to emotions of uncertainty, financial ruin, all these different things that are going on in society right now that people are stressed with. So we are in a more hypervigilant state that we're constantly at this stage right here, shutting down our digestive system, which decreases the amount of nutrients that our body has. And if we look at how the body is designed to run, the body runs off of what? Vitamins, minerals, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and water. That's how our body runs. You know, we need those essential nutrients. And obviously oxygen, we need that, but those are all carrying things that go with the oxygen. But we need those things and they're essential, and they all come from our digestion, with the exception of oxygen. So we need that delivery for our body to function and ultimately run.